Good morning and welcome to Daily Red Devil for all of your latest Manchester United transfer news and talk. And as always, we're back with another massive show to bring you guys this morning. But before we jump into that, please do smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel. We're literally 2 subscribers away from 20,000. So please do subscribe if you haven't already. Get involved in the community. Lots and lots to get into on the show this morning. We're going to be talking about a bidding war for Jadon Sancho. We're also going to be talking a little bit about an injury setback for Mainoo, which I know is going to be quite frustrating to hear for some of you, but we will talk about that. We're also going to talk a little bit about Mason Greenwood. We've had a bit of clarity on part of the reasons why Manchester United decided against bringing him back after originally deciding to bring him back. So we'll be talking a bit about that. Lots of other stuff to get into. As always, get involved in the comments section, get involved in the live chat. Let me know your thoughts on everything we discuss on today's show, because I do love to see what you guys have to say. Right, let's start off the show with the Mainoo story then, just really quickly. So if anybody was unaware, Manchester United played a behind closed doors game against Barnsley at Carrington yesterday. Now, Mainoo, Reguilón, all of these types of people were supposed to be involved in that match. All of the people who were on the brink of coming back from injury, Amad Diallo's, etc. Apparently, Mainoo was unable to feature in this match because of another injury setback. At this moment in time, we're not sure exactly how much longer he will be out for, but apparently he has suffered another injury setback, which is really, really disappointing because I know a lot of you were really excited to see Mainoo return to the team. A lot of you had really high hopes for him, me included. Some of you were even saying that, Casemiro potentially needs to have a bit of time on the bench. I'm not sure if I fully agree with that. I think Casemiro is one of our best players. I think, yes, he's had a couple of dodgy moments, but for me, if, a player like Casemiro, I think class is permanent. Yes, people can dip in form, but for me, I wouldn't bench Casemiro personally. I think to say Amrabat should be starting ahead of Casemiro, I don't think Amrabat's done enough personally to be like, throw Casemiro to the bench. But let me know what you guys think about that. I know a couple of people in the chat yesterday were saying that they think that Casemiro should be benched. Some of you were saying that he should play at centre-back, which is an interesting idea. But for me, I think Casemiro is probably our best midfielder. I know Amrabat's the trendy name, if that makes sense. He's the hipster name. Everybody likes Amrabat. But I don't know. I'm not by any means saying that I don't think Amrabat's a good player. I'm just saying I'm not as... I don't think he's world class personally at this moment in time. But let me know if you disagree. Yes, he did well at left back, but when we played Brentford on Saturday, people were saying, oh, he was incredible. But Brentford just parked the bus. They didn't really try and score a goal after they got their 1-0, did they? So I don't think it was a very good test for Amrabat and a very good test for us to really get a good idea of Amrabat's style of play. He was one of the people in the summer that I was most excited about signing, and I still am. But I don't think that was it wasn't a very good example as a fan to watch the game and to really see what he was about, because he wasn't really tested, was he? So I don't think it's very fair to say Amrabat was world class against Brentford, we should bench Casemiro. Yes, Casemiro was at fault for the goal, and it was a really, really poor mistake from Casemiro. But I think class is permanent for me, and I think if you're paying somebody 350 grand a week or whatever Casemiro's on, you spent 60-70 million pounds on him, you can't just play him for one season and then start benching him. So for me, Casemiro has to stay in that team. Let's see what else people are saying in the chat. Yeah, Sean says Casemiro is the captain of Brazil. He did not turn into a turd after 5 games. Get a grip, people. Yeah, I completely agree. I just think that Amrabat seems to be this hipster name, and everyone's like, Amrabat's so good, he's amazing. And I haven't really seen it yet, to be honest. I thought he looked good at left back, but I wouldn't say he was world class at left back. He was okay, he did a job at left back. And we've only seen him play 1 game in the midfield. So I think it's a little bit early to be brandishing around that Casemiro should be dropped for Amrabat after Casemiro's been consistently one of the best CDMs, if not the best CDM in world football for the last 10 years. Whereas Amrabat before the World Cup, I don't think anybody had even heard of him. So I think we've got to get perspective here. I know people are excited about Amrabat. I know he's the trendy name and all the rest of it, but yeah, I think it's maybe a little bit too soon to be dropping our, probably one of our best players for Amrabat personally. But let me know what you guys think about that. Kevin says, where's Mainoo? We just spoke about Mainoo. He's apparently he's suffered an injury setback. But if you just go back to the beginning, if you join late, all will be revealed. Right, let's move on to this story about Jadon Sancho then. I know people are sick to death of Jadon Sancho, but yeah, I mean, the stuff with Sancho just there keeps being more and more stories every single day, and it's such a bad distraction for me. I think that, you know, we just need rid of him and just to move on. That's what needs to happen. Whether that will happen fast, probably not, because obviously the transfer window's shut. Let's get this Jadon Sancho story up for you then, guys. Let's have a look. See what else people are saying in the chat, actually, quickly. Let's go back to the chat. Alan says, Casemiro is our general. I don't understand why people want to drop him. I agree, mate. I do. I think Casemiro is one of, if not our best player. And I think the people who are saying that he should be dropped because he's, you know, had a couple of dodgy games, I think is a bit unfair. You know, I do. We've played 10 games this season and 95% of our team have been rubbish. So to single out Casemiro, I think is a little bit lazy. And then to make out that Amrabat is our saviour, I don't really get the context of it. I just think it's a bit, I don't know. I don't think there is really any substance behind what's being said, you know. But let's see about this Sancho story then. Right, where are we? Where are we? Right, let's have a quick look at the chat again. Alan says players who we should drop are Rashford and Mason Mount. I agree with Rashford. I don't really agree with Mason Mount. I think Mason Mount's been really, really good. I've really liked what I've seen of Mason Mount so far. I think, yes, he was a little bit slow getting started in the first couple of games of the season, but I think he got a lot of unnecessary criticism. And you know what? I think Mason Mount's going to turn into a good player for Manchester United. I'm really, really hopeful of that. And I think people saying he should be dropped, I don't really get it. I don't see why he should be dropped and Bruno Fernandes should start, you know? But let me know what you guys think about that. Who would you drop if you had to between Mason Mount and Bruno Fernandes? And is there a world where you would have both of them in the team? Do you think that works? I personally don't think it works at the moment, having those two in the team. But obviously, if you disagree, please do let me know what you guys think. Right, let's talk about this story really, really quickly. So on Jadon Sancho, there's a story coming out this morning saying that apparently both Dortmund and Juventus are going to come in for Jadon Sancho in January. And apparently Sancho only wants to do a loan move in January, which is a bit like, it's a bit of a really, you know, it's like, is it really up to you? You're refusing to play football. You're not part of the first team. You're not even watching the games anymore from home. And now you're saying that you don't want to go on a permanent deal with January. You want to go on loan. It doesn't really make any sense to me personally, and I don't really see how he has the power. But if you actually look at it in the black and white, right? Manchester United were the ones who gave him this stupid contract. So he does have the power. He legally has a contract which says Manchester United will pay him. So he can pretty much do whatever he wants, really. I know it's frustrating for the United fans. I know that we all think that he should go. We all think that he should go, you know, in January permanently. But when he's got that ridiculous contract in front of him that Manchester United gave him, he can do whatever he wants, really. He's got all the power. And he's probably sat there at home thinking, well, I'm getting paid 375 grand a week to sit on my sofa and play FIFA, you know? And that is literally what's happening at the moment. He's literally just sitting at home training with the under-18s, I think. And it's a mess, isn't it? But let me know what you guys think about that. And let's move on to this story about Mason Greenwood, because I know some of you in the chat really, really like Mason Greenwood. Some of you do, some of you don't. And there's a story coming out this morning from The Athletic. Now, I know a lot of you, me included, were very, very confused about what happened surrounding the Mason Greenwood situation. 1 minute, he's coming back. It's pretty much leaked, isn't it, by The Athletic that Mason Greenwood will be coming back. Then there's all of this backlash from supposedly people who worked at Carrington, from staff members, supposedly from the women's team, from some fans. And this story coming out this morning even, from The Athletic is saying that during the peak moment of the Greenwood episode, some staff members felt ashamed by their association with Manchester United, while others considered their positions and discussed how to organise a strike in the workplace. So we can see why Mason Greenwood didn't come back to Manchester United. Whether you agree with that or disagree with that, that's completely up to you. But we're slowly starting to paint a picture of what actually happened here. We know that Richard Arnold had pretty much confirmed that he was coming back. And within 24 hours, because of fan pressure, because of media pressure, because of obviously pressure from people who worked in around Carrington. It doesn't specify who these people are, but I don't think it's, the manager, because we know that the manager wanted Mason Greenwood back. It must be people who work there. I don't know, the people who work in the canteen, people like that, just normal people who work at Carrington. And even going as far as saying that they were ashamed by their association with Manchester United, and that they'd considered their positions and were going to organise strikes and stuff. So Manchester United pretty much, fell through under pressure and gave in to the kind of the mainstream approach, if you know what I mean. Yeah. Will Mason Greenwood come back? That's the question. And I wouldn't be surprised if he does, to be completely honest with you. I really, really wouldn't. He's playing pretty much every single game now, isn't he, over in La Liga? I haven't watched any of the games, to be honest. I don't really watch Spanish football that much, but from what I've seen, of clips and stuff, he seems to be playing quite well. He seems to be getting assists. He got a goal the other day. Yeah, he's had a pretty good run so far. Will he come back? I wouldn't be surprised if he does, to be honest. The fact that Manchester United haven't closed the door on him completely, I would not be surprised at all. If he does come back. Let's see what people are saying in the chat. Sean says, I would have Greenwood back. We can't crucify people forever. Habby says, forgive and bring Mason Greenwood back. Sean says he made a mistake and he hopefully learns from it. Yeah, I reckon he's going to come back, to be honest. Again, whether you want him to come back or not, that's completely up to you. But I think, I think he might come back. Fred says, I think Sancho is looking for a loan to see what's happening with Erik ten Hag's future, maybe. Sean, you're onto something there, and I was literally just about to talk about that. There was a story coming out this morning which says exactly what Sean has just said. It says that apparently Jadon Sancho only wants to have a loan move because he has it doesn't say that he thinks Erik ten Hag is going to get sacked, but the story ultimately goes as far as, if the poor run of results continue, yes, we beat Brentford in a dramatic fashion on Saturday, but before that, our season so far has been the worst start to a season that I can remember in my lifetime, okay? I'm sure someone will say, in 1960 we lost 7 games in a row or whatever, but I wasn't alive in 1960. So since I was of an age to actually watch football and remember it, I can't remember us having a worse start than what we've had this season. If we'd have lost against Brentford, what would that have been? 5 losses and 3 wins, would it? Yeah, I think we'd have had 5 losses and 3 wins in the Premier League. That's relegation form. That is genuinely relegation form. I'm not even joking. I mean, if you times, if that's 8 matches, right, and we had 9 points, if you times that by 5, 9, 18, 27, we would have, if we'd have ended the season there, we'd have had about 40 points. So we would have been just above the relegation zone, if that makes sense. If you times the amount of games we played by the amount of games we had left to play and all the rest of it. Yeah, so we were literally on the brink of relegation form. Well, obviously, I'm not saying we were going to get relegated, but you get what I mean. Let's have a look what else people are saying in the chat. Yeah, Carlos says 1980 was the last time we were this bad. Yeah, I mean, I was born in the 90s, so I didn't obviously, I wasn't even alive in the 80s. So as long as I've been alive, yeah. Martin says Alan Brazil from TalkSport is reporting that the United players are disgusted with the manager's treatment of Ronaldo and that Sancho works his socks off. Do you really believe that? I think there would be more of an outcry if, let me see if I can find that. Okay, so it says, a Man United player told someone I know well that they are not having the manager. Apparently they're disgusted with the way he treated Ronaldo and Sancho works hard. I mean, what do you really think of that? That's like me being like, my friend's friend's brother is Robbie Williams. Or my friend's friend, is friends with Ed Sheeran. It's like, he's not taking any ownership for it. He's saying, a Man United player told someone I know that they're not having the manager. I mean, what does that even mean? I just think it's rubbish, It's not even a journalist owning up to a story themselves. It's them kind of blaming it, saying, somebody I know who I'm not going to name said that somebody else that I don't know who I'm not going to name said this. And do you know what I mean? It's a little bit like he said, she said. Yeah. Let's see what else people are saying. Carlos says TalkSport is rubbish. Yeah, I agree, to be honest. I don't mind it sometimes. Like, I listen to it occasionally in the background when I'm working, but yeah, all of the like little clickbait stuff they do, I think it is all rubbish. Maybe he's right. I did say this a couple of weeks ago. I said I wouldn't be surprised if Sancho's waiting round because he thinks that Erik ten Hag's going to get sacked. A new manager comes in, and I would not be surprised at all, right? This is just me looking from the other perspective. If a new manager came in and made something of Sancho, I've said this from the summer, okay? I want people to hear this because I had somebody in the chat going at me yesterday, like, why are you being so like negative about Jadon Sancho? And, you know, you're being really unfair about him. And I was pretty much the only person in this chat, in this community, sorry, in the summer transfer window who was like, we should keep Jadon Sancho. I think there's a real player there. You know, we're going to sell him, and then in 3 or 4 years' time, he's going to be one of the best players in the Premier League. He's only 23 years of age. There's definitely a good player there in Jadon Sancho. I just think there is an attitude problem. I think he has fallen out with the manager. And I think once you fall out with Erik ten Hag, that's it. I think he's that type of person. The same thing happened with Cristiano Ronaldo. As soon as you cross the line with Erik ten Hag, he's a disciplinary. He'll get rid of you. And I, you know what? I actually respect that. I do. I honestly respect that. Yes, it's not good for Manchester United because it might mean that people like Jadon Sancho might go to Juventus, right, in January, and he might turn into this world-class player. And in 2 years' time, we'll look back and think, how did we let Jadon Sancho slip through the cracks, you know? And you have to hope, the only thing you can hope at that moment is that Erik ten Hag is still the manager and we're winning Premier Leagues and Champions Leagues, because otherwise it'll be another player that's, you know, fallen out with the manager we've got rid of, and then they've gone to another club and done really, really well. So I just want to be very, very clear about that, right? I don't by any means think that Jadon Sancho is a bad player. I think he is a good player. I think it's disappointing that he's fallen out with Erik ten Hag. And I think that as long as Erik ten Hag is the manager for the next 5-10 years, then I think this is the right stand to be like this, you know, to be like, I'm the manager. If you disrespect me in public, I'm getting rid of you. That has to be the right stand. But if, you know, in January we're stood here and Erik ten Hag's been sacked, which I hope he hasn't, but just say he has, like, I wouldn't be surprised if Jadon Sancho stays. I wouldn't. And maybe the truth will come out. Maybe there is more to this story. You know, obviously we only hear what we hear from journalists and other people. You know, they're just getting fed information from various places. We need to hear it directly from the people, Jadon Sancho or Erik ten Hag. Let's have a look at what people are saying in the chat. Just a quick one as well, everybody who's just joined, please do smash a like on the video and please do subscribe to the channel if you are new. I've just dropped a link in the chat to subscribe, so please go and do that if you haven't already. Carlos says he's a good player, just a big baby. I mean, the thing is though, right, I want to be fair here. Jadon Sancho is only 23 years of age. I mean, do you remember what you were like when you were 23? Like, I'm 29. And I'm not a big baby anymore, but I imagine when I was 22, I was pretty immature, you know? Like, I don't know what you guys were like at that age, but 22, 23 is young when you think about it in the grand scheme of things. I know, yes, there's some players who are the model citizens and do everything right, but not everybody's like that, you know? Let's have a look. Jonathan says Sancho is too lazy even for himself. Benny says, keep Ten Hag and let Sancho go. He's not a United player. Ten Hag has standards and Sancho obviously isn't up to those standards and never will be. I agree with you there. And I think that Sancho would only work under managers like Ollie, right? Because Ollie was just like a smiley, do what you want, boys, go out on the pitch, you know, have a bit of fun. But Ollie didn't even play Sancho. And that kind of sums it up for me. The fact that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, the most happy, smiley manager I think I've ever seen in world football, even after we lost, you know, even after we get battered, he would still somehow look happy. The fact that he didn't ever even play Jadon Sancho, that kind of sums it up for me, you know? And he was the one who brought him in. There must be more going on behind the scenes that we don't know about. But yeah, let's see what else everyone's saying in the chat this morning. Chris says it's more like the Glazers stay. No one will be surprised if Sancho stays because the Glazers won't take a loss on a player. Sancho is a cancer and has had issues with every club he's been at. Yes, I agree. Sean says Ollie did not know what to do with him. Well, do you know what's weird, right? Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was actually speaking recently, and apparently Jadon Sancho actually likes to play on the left. Why the hell did Manchester United sign a player, right, who played on the right for Borussia Dortmund, but apparently his favoured position is the left wing, which is obviously where Marcus Rashford plays. So apparently Jadon Sancho doesn't actually like playing on the right. That's what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was saying in a recent interview. So it's a little bit confusing, isn't it? How Manchester United seem to be getting these big high-profile transfers wrong. I don't get it personally. It does confuse me, but yeah, that's just Manchester United all over for you, isn't it? Peter says, we can't build a structure in the club if players keep getting their way. The manager has to have respect and power, got to stick to the manager and support him for a while to create that structure. 100%. And I think that, you know, Manchester United must be 100% sure about Erik ten Hag to take his side over this Jadon Sancho situation, because if there was any chance of him being sacked, imagine how bad it would look, right? If you let go of Jadon Sancho and then a month later you sack Erik ten Hag. I mean, that would just be a complete mess. You've got this £75 million player on 300 plus grand a week, who you've pretty much just let go on loan because he's fallen out of the manager, and then you sack the manager. Do you see what I mean? Like, you have to be very, very careful about how they handle this situation. But let me know what you guys think about that one. Right, let's crack on with the rest of the show. We've got quite a bit more to get through before the end of the video. Right, so Harry Maguire has been doing an interview with The Times on the international break, and he's been talking about his career so far. He says every career has its ups and downs, especially when you reach what I've reached in terms of being the captain of the biggest club in the world for 3.5 years. He's been in the position and he knows what it's like. So he then goes on to say, I think when you're going through tough moments, you've got to go through past experiences and past memories and where you've gone wrong in your career and what you've been through. So Harry Maguire has been talking about his current run of form. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with Harry Maguire, to be honest. I think he does need to go, but I think we actually need him this season really, really badly. I think that it's very important that every single one of those players in this squad, even the ones who we don't think are good enough, chip in and offer something. And I think that's why the Jadon Sancho situation is so frustrating, because he has an opportunity here. We had Antony suspended. You've got Mason Greenwood loaned. You've got Amad Diallo injured. You've got Pellistri, who's never really broken through into the team. There was literally a spot there for Jadon Sancho, and he was too stubborn to apologise. You know, and I just think that sums it up for me. Harry Maguire gets slated for, you know, he gets turned into memes for making mistakes, but he does seem to actually want to play for Manchester United and seems to know what it means. Maybe he's not good enough, but I do have some respect for him just because of his, you know, his desire to try and get back into that team. Yes, he should have gone in the summer, but it is what it is, isn't it? We'll have to wait and see what happens with Harry Maguire. Let me know what you guys think. I thought he played quite well against Brentford, to be honest. I thought Harry Maguire was good against Brentford. I know it was against a team who were parking the bus, who barely attacked, but I don't think Harry Maguire put a foot wrong. The goal was the fault of Casemiro and also Onana, who doesn't seem to be able to save a ball at the moment. You know, Harry Maguire was not at fault for the goal whatsoever. I just want to read out this bit about Kobbie Mainoo really, really quickly then, because I know some people wanted me to go into more depth about it. So the story is this. It says Manchester United hosted a behind-the-closed-doors match against Barnsley on Tuesday. We're still waiting to find out what the score was. It says Kobbie Mainoo was due to play against the League One club. However, that now seems unlikely after it was decided it was a little too soon for him. So I think he's still suffering with this injury, which is a bit frustrating, really, because I really, really wanted him to come back into the team. I really, really was excited about it. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about that. Is Kobbie Mainoo going to be a big turning point for our season, or do you think that, maybe he's just going to be someone on the sidelines, you know, not quite ready to start matches? I'm not too sure. He's been hyped up so much. Like, I don't know if anybody in this community plays the new FIFA or EAFC. I've seen on there's a bronze card Kobbie Mainoo, and it's like completely extinct on the game. Like, you can't get it because everybody wants this Kobbie Mainoo card. It's crazy. I saw it on Twitter. I don't know if anybody plays it, but I just thought I'd mention it in case you were. If anybody in this, I was going to do a couple of videos on EAFC, like FIFA type videos, but I decided not to do it. I'm not too bothered about it, really. I play it occasionally for a bit of fun, but I didn't really want to start making videos about it. I know there was some people in the chat who wanted me to, but yeah, I decided not to do it. So I do apologise for that if you were interested. Right. So there's a little bit more here as well on the Jadon situation really, really quickly. This is between Jadon and Erik ten Hag and about where the relationship has gone wrong. So it says, someone close to Jadon Sancho says there is no relationship between Jadon and ten Hag. They have barely spoken since the incident, and Jadon is still training with the academy players. He has no involvement in the first team squad. It then goes on to say that Erik ten Hag wants Jadon Sancho to apologise in front of the rest of the squad. Sancho does not feel like he should have to. And it says Erik ten Hag is now ready to wash his hands of Jadon Sancho and wants him to leave in January to remove a disruptive influence from a squad already in crisis. Jadon Sancho is not ready to give up on his Manchester United career yet, especially one under a different manager Should Erik ten Hag depart amid the club's crisis? So it looks like Jadon's just waiting. He's waiting to play his cards. I don't really rate it personally, but it is what it is. Yeah, it is what it is. Right, I'm going to read out a couple more of your comments before I wrap up the video. Joel says, it's the first year I've not bought FIFA. I can't be bothered. Yeah, I hear you, mate. I do. I hear you. I also sell all the old players to Saudi. Casemiro, Bruno, Eriksen, Maguire. Get younger, skilled, technical players in. Mass heart surgery at the end of the season. Yes, I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that. Brad says Harry Maguire would have left if the Qataris had taken over. Yeah, I also agree with that. Right, I'm going to wrap the video up here, guys. Thank you so much to everyone who has joined me on the show this evening. I will, of course, be back live at 6 p.m. UK time. Please do make sure to smash a like on the video before you go. Please do subscribe to the channel if you are new. This has been Daily Red Devil, and I'll speak to you all a little bit later.